I got a question. They have a saying that ignorance is bliss. They also have a saying that most of our hearts cannot be affected by the things that they're unaware of. They also have a saying that there is a certain level of peace that you have from being oblivious and clueless about the reality of things that are going on. You know better, but you're not doing better. That's the part of this whole video that's going to make you a little uncomfortable. You know better, but you're not doing better. That's some scary shit. For you to decide, here's limitations with my career and my marriage and my personal life. Here's some dysfunction in my career, my personal life, in my surroundings, and my friends. I know better, but I'm so used to doing wrong and being dysfunctional. I know better, but I don't want to do better. Or, I know better, but I'm not willing to do better. You have decided to settle, and you're so comfortable in your skin. When you are not working as hard as you know you can work on the job. When you are giving people attitude because they're giving you an attitude. It's like a cycle of death. It ain't gonna stop. It's like catty little girly. Men do the same. Catty, girly, ego. You know what I'm saying? Homeboy came, look, he got a problem with me, so I got a problem with him. If your goal is to work your way up the success ladder, if you're going to have a problem with everybody who has a problem with you, do you think that that's going to help you to get to the top even faster? You know how many times I got to laugh that ain't funny? You know how many times I got to go to dinners and events and places and be around people that I don't with at all? I don't like them. They've made it obvious that they don't like me. But guess what? If it's a game of survival, we're going to get from where we are to where we're trying to be.
Listen, man, like I told all my kids have a college education. I told them all, I don't care what you get a degree in. Until you follow your dream and connect it to your gift, you'll never be happy. You'll never be happy, man. I just got to tell you, you got to chase that dream before you die, man. You should go and live your dream. Just go see. God puts your real life in your imagination. That's where your real life ain't in your present circumstance. Your real life is not in your current situation. Your real life is not in your paycheck. Your real life, he tucks it away in your imagination. Albert Einstein said, imagination is everything. It's a preview to life's coming attractions. Everything you imagine is a preview to a coming attraction. Once you understand that and quit looking at your imagination as hocus pocus, it opens up a wide range of things and possibilities. And God puts your real life in your imagination. Listen to me. This is serious what I'm telling you. Don't you think it's nothing else. Imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions. That simply means everything that's in your imagination is a preview of a coming attraction that God has for you. That's why he puts it in your imagination. That's why when you tell your imagination to the wrong people, it don't go nowhere. You ever had something you thought was a brilliant idea and you took it in there to your family and your loved ones and they shot it down? You know why they shot it down? Because they couldn't see it. Because God didn't put it in their imagination. He put it in your imagination. If you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded person. That motherfucker die like that. It'll just die. I walked in that house, man, and told everybody I was quitting my job to go be a comedian. Everybody in that house shot that down. My ex-wife shot it down. Her mother-in-law shot it down. My mama shot it down. All my friends shot it down. My brothers and sisters shot it down. Don't you quit your job, go be no comedian. You can't make no money telling no jokes like that. It's 1985. Who you think you are? If I had listened to them, I wouldn't even be here today. But I didn't listen because it was evidently clear to me. God had put it in my imagination that one day I would be on stage. There was an old song that the Temptations had. It was written by Donny Hathaway, and it's called A Song for You. And one of the stanzas in the song I used to sing as a little boy. I've acted out my life on stages with 10,000 people watching, and we are alone, and I'm singing this song for you. I used to always imagine myself in front of 10,000 people. You know how many people I done been in front of? I done told jokes in front of 44,000 people before. But if I had listened to my mother, who was saved and a Christian and a Sunday school teacher, if I had listened to her, I wouldn't have quit my job. All my brothers, everybody told me, you can't go be no comedian. I left anyway. I won amateur night on October 8th, 1985. I won $50. I went to work the next day, October 9th, 1985. Quit my job. Everybody in my neighborhood called me a fool. I send planes pick up all of them. All of them.
And if you're good at your job, they'll promote you. And at some point, you'll get promoted to a position where we're now responsible for the people who do the job we used to do, but nobody shows us how to do that. And that's why we get managers and not leaders. Because the reason our managers are micromanaging us is because they actually do know how to do the job better than us. That's what got them promoted. Really what we have to do is go through a transition. Some people make it quickly, some people make it slowly, and unfortunately some people will never make that transition at all. Which is we have to go through this transition of being responsible for the job and then turning into somebody who's now responsible for the people who are responsible for the job. And as I said before, one of the great things that is lacking in most of our companies is that they are not teaching us how to lead. And leadership is a skill like any other. It is a practicable, learnable skill. And it is something that you work on. It's like a muscle. If you practice it all the days, you will get good at it and you will become a strong leader. If you stop practicing, you will become a weak leader. Like parenting, everyone has the capacity to be a parent. Doesn't mean everybody wants to be a parent, and doesn't mean everybody should be a parent. Leadership is the same. We all have the capacity to be a leader. Doesn't mean everybody should be a leader, and it doesn't mean everybody wants to be a leader. And the reason is because it comes at great personal sacrifice. Remember, you're not in charge, you're responsible for those in your charge. That means things like when everything goes right, you have to give away all the credit. And when everything goes wrong, you have to take all the responsibility. That sucks, right? It's things like staying late to show somebody what to do. It's things like when something does actually break, when something goes wrong, instead of yelling and screaming and taking over, you say, try again. When the overwhelming pressures are not on them, the overwhelming pressures are on us. At the end of the day, great leaders are not responsible for the job. They're responsible for the people who are responsible for the job. They're not even responsible for the results. I love talking to CEOs and say, what's your priority? And they put their hands on their hips all proudly and say, my priority is my customer. I'm like, really? You haven't talked to a customer in 15 years. There's no CEO on the planet responsible for the customer. They're just not. They're responsible for the people who are responsible for the people who are responsible for the customer. I'll tell you a true story. A few months ago, I stayed at the Four Seasons in Las Vegas. It is a wonderful hotel. And the reason it's a wonderful hotel is not because of the fancy beds. Any hotel can go and buy a fancy bed. The reason it's a wonderful hotel is because of the people who work there. If you walk past somebody at the Four Seasons and they say hello to you, you get the feeling that they actually wanted to say hello to you. It's not that somebody told them that you have to say hello to all the customers, say hello to all the guests, right? You actually feel that they care. Now, in their lobby, they have a coffee stand. And one afternoon, I went to buy a cup of coffee, and there was a barista by the name of Noah who was serving me. Noah was fantastic. He was friendly and fun, and he was engaging with me, and I had so much fun buying a cup of coffee, I actually think I gave 100% tip, right? He was wonderful. So as is my nature, I asked Noah, do you like your job? And without skipping a beat, Noah says, I love my job. And so I followed up. I said, what is it that the Four Seasons is doing that would make you say to me, I love my job? And without skipping a beat, Noah said, throughout the day, managers will walk past me and ask me how I'm doing, if there's anything that I need to do my job better. He said, not just my manager, any manager. And then he said something magical. He says, I also work at Caesar's Palace. And at Caesar's Palace, the managers are trying to make sure we're doing everything right. They catch us when we do things wrong. He says, when I go to work there, I like to keep my head under the radar and just get through the day so I can get my paycheck. He says, here at the Four Seasons, I feel I can be myself. Same person, entirely different experience from the customer who will engage with Noah. So we in leadership are always criticizing the people. We're always saying, we got to get the right people on the bus. I've got to fill my team. I got to get the right people. But the reality is, it's not the people. It's the leadership. If we create the right environment, we will get people like Noah at the Four Seasons. If we create the wrong environment, we will get people like Noah at Caesar's Palace. It's not the people. And yet we're so quick to hire and fire. You can't hire and fire your children. If your kids are struggling, we don't say, you got to see at school, you're up for adoption.
If I had only one wise offering for you, it would be this one. The third law of motion, and all the laws of the universe actually, are, in my mind, divine laws. And my favorite is the third law, which says, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. There are lots of different religions and philosophies that call this other things. In this country, sometimes we call it the golden rule. What I know for sure is it doesn't matter what you do unto others, it's already done unto you. So anybody who's seen the movie The Color Purple, there's a line in there when Miss Celie leaves and she says to Mr. Everything you done to me, and she holds the two fingers, already done to you. That's the third law of motion. Newton didn't know that Celie was going to articulate it that way, but everything you done to me, already done to you. So that is the tenet that rules my entire life. And before the third law of motion, which says there's every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, before there's even the thought or the action, there is the intention for the thought. And if there's one force field that rules and dominates the meaning of life for me, it is living my life with a pure sense of intention. Now, this came to me because I used to be one of those people who had the disease to please. I said yes many times when I knew I should have been saying no, and then I would be mad at myself for saying yes. Anybody ever done that? You say yes, then you're mad when they come back again. Because when you say yes, when you really mean no, people follow the intention of the yes. Because why do you say yes? You say yes because you don't want the person to be upset with you. They're not. You don't want the person to be angry. You want the person to think you're nice. They do. And that is why they keep coming back. I couldn't understand it. I just gave you some money. And now you are back. Oh, that's because I didn't really state the truth, And so now you think me giving you the money meant I wanted to give you the money, and that's why you're back asking me for some more. So I tested this principle of intention when I first came to discover it in Gary Zukav's book, Seed of the Soul. I was like, I'm gonna see if that intention thing will work for this disease to please, because people are always bothering me. So this is what I learned through intention. Nothing is showing up in your life that you didn't order there. If it's there because you needed to see it. So I have a big life, and things show up for me in big ways. So one day Stevie Wonder calls me. I'm not name dropping, it's true, he'd call me.